Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to meet my half-sister? Original post. So this is rather simple and messy. I, 24 female, am an affair baby. My father, 75 male, had me with my mother, 60 female, while still being married to someone else. Then divorced with his first wife when I was 4 and married my mom 2 years later. Because of the age gap and the general mess of the situation, I never truly had any relationships with my father's side of the family. For them, I was just an unexpected person to exist, which I am totally okay with, since I have a great loving family on my mother's side anyway. So since birth, we have settled this lovely mutual agreement, where they pretend I don't exist and I forget that my father is not an orphan. Lovely. The only person who decided to break this mutual indifference pact was my half-sister, 55 female. I probably also need to mention that my father was somewhat wealthy when he started dating my mother. He had already provided well for his eldest daughter, paid for her education, helped her to get a decent job in a law firm, and bought her a large apartment. So my sister was extremely unhappy with my birth, since for her, it meant that some of my dad's money will not flow the other direction. Not my petty words, by the way. She said that to my mother. And not only that, according to my mother, confirmed by my father and grandparents, she had been harassing my mom throughout her entire very complicated pregnancy, to the extent that my mother ended up in a hospital. My sister then found a way to call her even there and wished she had a miscarriage. The last time when she and my mother met, she said, "I am worthless and don't deserve the honor of being called her sister, and she would rather give everything up to charity than let me inherit something from her." She was single and childless then and still is now. As from my own memories, I have seen her probably only 3 to 4 times as a kid and got a few presents from her as a teenager. Some of her hideous old clothes she didn't want to wear anymore. She decided it would be hilarious to just send it to my mother in a garbage bag. So I donated it to charity upon her forgotten wishes. The funny thing is that, even though my mother was accused of gold digging, my father had an accident and retired soon after their marriage. So she was the one who provided for me and gave me the future. Now I live in another country with my soon-to-be husband, studying, and all in all, doing okay. I was supposed to visit my family next week, when my father unexpectedly called me, which he never does. Upon a very awkward conversation, I received this information. 1. Even though agreeing to cut contact, my father began talking with his eldest daughter a few years ago. 2. He systematically updated her on my life. 3. Since she learned I am doing okay and am soon to start my own family, she suddenly expressed desire to meet me. She has no family on her own, and that somehow made her value our sister bond more? I kindly rejected that offer and said I would rather not. Then followed 20 minutes of a pointless conversation with such arguments as, "I am becoming older and want my children to reconcile. She was young and stupid, now she regrets," etc., etc. When I reminded him that she basically harassed my mother and wished me dead, he called me out for being vengeful towards my sister and said he taught me better. I then said that I don't think I deserve the honor of meeting her and don't seek to earn that honor. And he hung up on me. I know my father is an old man who doesn't want any drama. However, my mother is the sweetest person alive, and a mere thought that someone in a right mind could harass her to the point she was at a hospital makes me sick. I don't have any interest in this sister bonding BS, and I don't care what she has to say. So am I the a-hole for not even giving her a chance to speak with me? Now for the top comments before reading the update. I know my father is an old man who doesn't want any drama. He should have kept his Johnson in his pants. Having an affair is legit a one-way highway to dramaland. Exactly what I was thinking. If he didn't want drama, he shouldn't have cheated, especially with someone basically the same age as his daughter. It doesn't matter if he's old and infirm, he's the ultimate a-hole here. And for him to get all high and mighty now, patronizingly telling Opie he taught her better? What a pile of hypocritical BS. Not excusing the older half-sister, she's an a-hole too. As for Opie's mom, she may be the sweetest person alive to Opie, but if she knew Opie's dad was married when she got involved with him, she's also an a-hole. Unless she didn't know and he took advantage of her. Opie's not the a-hole though. Not the a-hole. Sounds like she wants to reach out for selfish reasons and wants you to just roll over and pretend she hasn't hated you your entire life. Even though her anger is misdirected, you seem to understand why people might scapegoat you as the living embodiment of the death of their family. But harassing someone into the hospital and then finding a way to continue that in the hospital is a bridge too far. I'm not a strong math guy, but if you're 24 and she's 55, then she was 31 when she did this to your mother. She wasn't some middle schooler, she was an adult over 30. Young and stupid indeed. Indeed, the young and stupid part cracked me up as well. Yep, she's not much younger than my mother. They even share the same name, and I think it may be one of the many reasons why my mom decided to keep her own surname. Lol. Does she want a frigging kidney or something? That seems to be the excuse for crap like this. Needing something. I actually have problems with kidneys. Wonder if I can pull Uno reverse card on that. Not the a-hole. She gets to have feelings about her dad cheating on her mom. If it had been me, I would have raised hell. But she crossed the line when she actively took it out on a pregnant woman and became vengeful towards you. Your dad was in the wrong for ever agreeing to cut himself off from his child for the sake of someone else. Let's be clear about that. You and your mom never ever needed to have contact with her, but he is still her parent. It was on him to create healthy boundaries for everyone in this situation, and he failed. To be honest, I wouldn't care if he talks with her or not if it wasn't for my mom. She insisted on cutting her off after my birth, or to be precise, make sure I never see her around me or my daughter, because I will call the police. The boundaries is something my dad was never strong in. He tends to avoid conflicts at all costs. He is constantly trying to force people to be okay with each other and be forgiving. So if my mother didn't do this us or them fit, I am 100% sure he would constantly try to make sis and my mother reconcile, invite her to dinners in our home, etc. This inability to leave things as it is was the reason my mother was harassed in the first place. I love him, but man can't understand why his daughter wouldn't be besties with his mistress, and got it only after she called mom at the hospital. Edit, you were more supportive than I expected, guys, so thanks guys. Just wanted to quickly address the infidelity part before going to sleep. It's past midnight where I am. I noticed some people were concerned about my lack of judgment when it comes to my mom being a mistress and breaking up the family. I personally would rather not go into deep details about who, with whom, and why, since it is the info I am not comfortable sharing with Reddit. However, I would say the thing that is relevant to my post at my sis. My mom is not an angel, but she is not a homewrecker either, because the home already didn't exist when she and my father met. He wasn't loyal before that. His family knew. I don't know their exact emotions on that, but he wasn't loyal for years before my mother, and he and his wife still live together. Even when he met my mom, they knew about her and showed no animosity towards her, even to sis. They met a few times, and sis was indifferent. My mother getting pregnant was the reason the crap show started. That is the reason why, regardless of my mom's actions, I am so not okay with the harassing part from sis. She wanted to have me aborted so dad would not waste his money on another child, then wanted me dead. As for the no contact request from mom part I mentioned in comments, guys, if you read please what I write. My mother said don't let her come near me or my baby after almost losing her unborn child due to endless harassment. My so-called sister wished me dead multiple times. She stopped only when my father agreed to leave all his savings to his old family. I know that because other people around me shared that info when I became older, not only my mother. She doesn't talk about any of my father's relatives at all if she is not asked to. Now for the update. Hey guys, just came home and looked through your answers. I did not expect that many, and oh boy, some are very interesting. I actually have a teeny tiny update, but first let me answer some of you guys. At first, those who addressed the issue I was asking about. Me and my sis being total strangers, with her resenting me even before my birth and suddenly wanting to meet. Thank you for your feedback. You are the most appreciated of all. I'm not that good at dealing with someone trying to do the speed run to my personal space, so I really wanted to know if I'm overreacting. Sometimes it's hard to judge, especially because I don't actually know sis, apart from her being a huge fan of my being born. As far as I know, not the most pleasant person to be around, but have zero desire to test this personally. As for my mother's infidelity, many people were not happy with the sweetest person part, and even less with my further explaining, which I find absolutely understandable. Many of you were polite and respectful in your argumentation, so thank you for that. Actually, upon reading my own answers the next day without context, I can see why so many people were confident that I'm trying to do black and white here. I don't actually think it is necessary to have a huge discussion, since it is not the main point of my post anyway. But for those who were respectful to me, I wanted to make my only and last point here. My position on that matter is not that cheating is totally okay, since it is my mom who did the nasty, and/or she wasn't the first mistress to my father. Can get a little defensive on that, I know. But don't blame me. Blame the flashbacks from my childhood when I constantly heard all the things you wrote from my father's friends. My position is that I have decided to refrain from judging my mother on that. In other words, not approving like, hey, my pops is a cheater anyway, so it is totally okay to sleep with him then. It is rather, I don't think it is my place to shame my mother. She made a decision and faced the consequences. I leave that to her and I won't let this impact our relationship. That's it. You may not agree with my point of view and it's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. And I'm entitled to my own perspective also. And the perspective is, I saw only kindness and love from her. This is my way of showing love and kindness back. Please be respectful. For those who actually insulted my mother or me by calling names and wishing me being cheated on to get the feeling, I hope people you love never make any mistakes. Oh boy, you would let them know they're not worthy of anything anymore. Now to the actual update. Actually not that much to update about. My father had a brilliant idea of asking my mother to persuade me, and now it is a huge crap show. My mother crying on Skype and asking me if meeting my sister is something I truly want. Me explaining that I don't give a flying F about her. My father screaming on my mother that it is her upbringing. Fun. Oh, he also said he had given her my number so we could settle things as adults. So now I am even more irritated. Due to some issues with my residence renewal, I often have to pick up from unknown numbers. Have to give attention to the country code before picking up from now on. The first Skype call was a disaster. Then when my father went outside to smoke, my mom called me again and I asked her about no contact thing. Mom explained that she was indeed against my sister being anywhere near me because she was scared of her hating me so much and couldn't trust her. However, she said she never actually forbade my father talking to her. She just wanted it to be away from our house and our lives. And that he tried for some time when I was a kid to see her occasionally. But then the car accident happened and Sis never ever called him or visited him at the hospital. This made him so frustrated that he went full no-contact mode himself. I then asked her does she have any idea of what Sis could possibly want from me, but she had no clue. So that's what it is now. If some drama happens, I will update, but I probably would not go to a every single new thing is the new post mode. I have a life to live and a wedding to plan. Just maybe we'll give some closure in case there would be one. Thanks for wasting your time reading this and have a nice life. All I can say is that the parents really sound like exhausting people, cause geez, I can sense more drama's going to happen soon. The father especially. It's the same reason why men always try and force their ex-wife to be on speaking terms with the affair partner. If both women get along, he can't have done anything wrong. He reminds me so hard of my father-in-law. He's still trying to force a relationship between my mother-in-law and my partner and gloss over the fact that she's an abusive monster whom he enabled, and that he occasionally gets abusive as well, like outright abusive. I'm aware that his enabling is abusive in itself. If everyone gets along, he hasn't done anything bad. You know, like letting his daughter harass his mistress so bad she went to the hospital. Last story. I told my ex-friend's parents their daughter let someone assault me and that's why she's not invited to my wedding. 24 female met 25 female Lauren when we were in 4th grade. We were inseparable from that first icebreaker activity. Even when I went to a different school for junior high, we were sisters, even though we only saw each other like 2 or 3 times a year. We went to the same high school and it was like nothing changed. Her mom and dad called me their daughter. People thought we were related in some way, and people would say our souls knew each other in a past life. I just wanted you guys to see how close we were and how much she really hurt me when she chose him over me. It was 2 years ago. We had just graduated nursing school and she invited me, her boyfriend, and my boyfriend for a couple's vacation. We were drinking. I only had half a spiked lemonade. I don't drink. I don't like the taste. The only times in my life where I had alcohol was when I turned 21, a sip of wine to see how it tasted, and this half-consumed spiked lemonade. I told them I was going to bed because I was way too tired. So I went to our room. About 2 hours later, I feel someone crawl into our bed, and I assumed it was my boyfriend obviously. So I start falling back to sleep until I feel my pants being taken off, and a hand enter me. I sit up immediately because it wasn't comfortable. My boyfriend keeps his nails short for work, so I shouldn't be getting almost daggers in me with nails. I push the person off, and it's him. I scream and hit him, and run downstairs. I scream and cry to my boyfriend who was just passed out on the couch and tell him what happened. They started fighting, and soon Lauren comes downstairs to help me break it up, and she asks what happens and I tell her. He starts calling me crazy, and then it switched to I wanted him to I was in the wrong room. Lauren tells me that maybe we should leave because it's causing drama. My mouth was in hell. So we left. The next day she calls and says that he says it was a mix-up, and he thought I was her. I try to get through to her that my bedroom was on the top floor and theirs was on the bottom. There's no way he got that mixed up. She tells me to just let it go. It was a mistake. It won't happen again. Don't ruin this for her. I hung up the phone, blocked her, erased her from my life, and I haven't spoken to her since then. I moved about 40 minutes away with my boyfriend. 5 days ago, she shows up on my doorstep. I still keep in contact with her mom and dad. I sent them an RSVP for my wedding. I guess she found out where I live and shows up on my doorstep with her parents. She brought them to try and persuade me to forgive her and invite her. Her parents don't know why we don't talk anymore. I didn't want to embarrass her to her parents. She's their only child. She stood out there pleading and begging. And then she has the nerve to say, let bygones be bygones. It was a long time ago. We both made mistakes. I told her, it was a mistake to let your boyfriend assault me and then kick me out but stay with him. Her parents' faces dropped. She clearly never told them. And they started going off, most of it in Spanish. They couldn't believe she'd do that. How could she let this happen? Is this the same one that assaulted her cousin? They apologized profusely and left. I looked him up, and sure enough, he's in prison for something I won't speak about here. She shows back up at my house banging on the door, saying I ruined her life and I should have just shut up and forgave her, because she's not even with him anymore. Over my ring told her, yeah, you're not with him, because he's in prison now for something worse than what he did to me. You deserve everything you got. Now leave, or I'll call the police. She was screaming and banging on my windows. I called the police and they told her she needed to leave. I called her parents to apologize, and they said they'll leave me alone if that's what I want and they understand if I'm furious with them. I told them absolutely not. You two are still mis padres. You better show up to my wedding or then I'll be mad at you. Then I didn't feel bad about outing her, but she was their parents' only daughter. I know they call me daughter, but I can never be what she was to them. I am kind of thinking maybe I should have just said we fell out over a different reason. But to try and still protect him after doing that to one of her family members, I'm conflicted. Not the a-hole, the balls on that hoe. She supported and lodged with a man who had molested her friends and relatives. Her head is screwed up. Imagine if she took her friend's side, her cousin might be safe now. She introduced that bad element to her family and knew his history. Definitely not the a-hole. I don't know why, after so many years, after him in prison, that she still managed to blame OP for ruining her life. Not the a-hole for sure. Not the a-hole. Maybe if she hadn't tried using her own parents to coerce you, they wouldn't have found out. Seriously, 100% self-inflicted wound. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She obviously has never once felt in the wrong about it. How many other people did she let him assault? At least one according to her parents. She's a horrible person. Not the a-hole.